I think one of the biggest fears that a lot of us have is mom or dad running out of money, maybe because they didn't invest well, because they invested poorly, or they got scammed and they don't have anything left.
There are so many different ways that that can happen. Today, we're going to talk to Todd Whatley, who is an elder law attorney and also just recently wrote a book about steering clear of pitfalls in your senior years to try to keep people from losing money unnecessarily. So thanks so much for being with us, Todd.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on today.
So, where do we start as far as the discussion of helping our parents keep the money that they have or use it as wisely as possible?
Yeah, it's just the thing is in 25 years of working with older people, when we mess up, when we're subject to a scam or we make a bad decision, we can just work harder and make more money. But when you're retired, that if it's gone, it's gone. You can't go out and make more money. And so it's so important that this age group be careful. And I see so many ways that they are losing money just very unnecessarily. And it just kills me. I, I've seen it over and over and over. So I've decided to put it down in writing to show people here's some problems and here's how to fix it.
What do you think is the most common way that people are losing money?
Um, Probably the scariest is scams.
Mhm.
You know, this generation is so trusting. Back in their day when the phone rang on the wall, they knew that was someone who knew them. They
Mhm.
would pick it up, they would talk to them, they trusted who was there. And they're still doing that. And there's some people out there that are not trustworthy and are doing things to get people to lose a whole lot of money.
Mhm.
But that's not the only way. There are so many decisions that they make. And probably one thing, and this is coming up very soon, is the Medicare open
Mm-hmm.
enrollment. And so many people are like, I love my plan. It was a great plan this year, and I'm sure it's going to be good next year. And that is absolutely not the case. Every single year, people need to talk to their agent and say, here's my drugs,
Mhm.
here's what's going on this year, and see which is the best plan for you. It is absolutely okay to change plans every single year to get the best one that you do. But there's people that have been on their plan for 15 years and they're not changing, and it's not a good plan for them. It might have been 15 years ago, but it's not good now. Please look at it, reevaluate it, and you can save thousands of dollars getting the right Medicare plan.
That's something that we talk a lot about and will be talking more about. But I
Yeah.
think that the other thing to remember is that, but don't be inclined to switch by those people who call you on the phone to ask you to switch. Make sure that you're talking to your Medicare agent or somebody who knows what they're doing
An
and
expert who
is going to
knows
be able to
you.
guide you in the right direction, right?
Exactly.
Because that's
Yeah.
another kind of
Do
big,
not call the number on the screen. Call your personal agent. Talk to them. Yeah.
Right.
right.
You mentioned the word trustworthy. I think there are lots of things we can do to help protect our parents, but one of the biggest things is us getting involved and making
Yeah.
sure that we know what mom and dad are spending their money on, where the money's going, how much money they still have. But that involves trust. They have to trust us.
Mhm. Yeah. And I speak all the time. And as an elder law attorney, the most important document you can do is a power of attorney
Mhm.
for finances. And you need to trust the person that you assign, but that person can then see what's going on, can jump in and take action. And so one of my chapters is estate planning to teach people what they need to look at, and not doing a power of attorney can result in the loss of their entire estate if they need long-term care. The
Right.
Medicaid rules are there to protect you, particularly if you're married. And I go into that
Mhm.
in my book about long-term care planning, and Medicaid, and how it's important to now, while you can still sign documents, do a power of attorney, do your will, do a trust if that's necessary. And I teach them that in this book and say, go to the right person, get a person who knows what they're doing, ideally, someone who has worked with seniors and can tell you exactly what you need to do now so that you can take care of it later when you can't sign new documents.
Right. We have heard so many horror stories in our community about people whose parents have been taken, if you will, for lack of a better word. by someone they trusted, or just that somebody that was very convincing and manipulative and got scammed, and you losing, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is, as you mentioned earlier, devastating when you don't have you're not still working where you could try to
make up
recoup
for that
that.
loss.
One of the things that I found from my personal experience with my mom being scammed is that I had to be really careful once we knew that was what was happening, to not sort of lose it, if you will, and say, oh my gosh, Mom, what were you thinking? Why did you give out your bank account information? Because what I found is that if I reacted in a way that made her embarrassed, or I guess ashamed that had happened, that then she might not tell me the next time, or give me a heads up that, hey, this person keeps calling me, or that kind of thing. So I think that's also pretty important, is how you react as the adult child when something is going on. But obviously, the sooner you can get involved, the better.
Yeah, I see this all the time. People have been being scammed for years. And I'm like, why didn't you say? And they're like, I was embarrassed. I knew this was happening. I didn't know how to get out of it. I was just embarrassed. It's like, hey, these people are good. They are really, really good. There's some good fake emails out there that look just like UPS or FedEx.
Mm-hmm.
And we are always ordering things online. So it's like, oh, my package is hung up at the distribution center. Click on that link and it's done. And as soon as you click on that link, oh my God. And so there's just so many ways. Another thing that I see is with investments, there are fees. Ask your investment advisor in dollars, how many dollars am I paying in fees? I see people that invested 20, 30 years ago and it was okay then. And just like with Medicare, it's good then, but is it good today? How much in fees? So like, oh, it's just 1%. Well, okay. 1% on $100,000 is $1,000. 1% on $1 million is $10,000 that you're paying. And there may be ways to save money there by getting into investments that are not as expensive, but get with your investment person and say, what am I paying in dollars? How many dollars am I paying?
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the biggest things I think we can do with our parents, is make sure that they're talking to the right people.
Exactly. Yep. Talk to the right person. And back on families and scams, one of the biggest scams is family members. And chapter 10 of my book is family and caregiver relationships. Is make sure that the caregiver that's in your house, be it a stranger or a family member, that they're not taking advantage of them. And you talk about someone really hiding, it's when their kid is stealing money from them. It's like, Mom, I need a car payment, I need that. And it's just like, oh my goodness, they're just they're being taken advantage of to the exclusion of the other kids. And I encourage families, get together, sit down and talk, look at the bank account, see what's going on, be informed.
I was going to say, what's the first thing that we should do if we've never done any of this? And okay, because of what Todd Whatley said, we're a little nervous about mom and dad's money. What's the first thing you want us to do?
Power of attorney.
Okay. Go
to an elder law attorney or someone who understands Medicaid, understands end of life, incapacity, things like that. Get a very comprehensive power of attorney so that someone that you trust and by law is trustworthy. They have a fiduciary duty to do what's in your best interest under this power of attorney. Appoint someone to be able to kind of look over your shoulder and just make sure things are going well. And people are like, well, I don't want to do a power of attorney because I will lose my rights. No, you don't lose any rights by doing it. My wife is my power of attorney and I still practice law. I still do things. It's just, if I can't do it, she can. Same thing with the older person. Appoint someone that you trust to be your power of attorney so that they can look at these things and help you not lose money.
Yeah. How would you suggest having that conversation if you have a parent who's been really independent, have always, taken care of all of their finances themselves, maybe haven't had lots of conversations with you about, hey, here's how I'm investing, or here's maybe what I have coming in as my retirement, those kinds of things. How do you have those conversations to just be able to help them see that I'm just trying to help, I'm not trying to be nosy, and, in conjunction with that, and we probably need a power of attorney?
Yeah, get a professional involved. Get my book. It says, "Hey, this happens to the best of us,"
Mhm.
and go through the book together and see. Here's some potential problems. Mom, Dad, are you having these problems? Is this going on? What's going on here? But keep those the channels of communication open. Be very agreeable. Work with them. And I tell people, anyone over the age of 18 needs to do a power of attorney, because even my kids, when they turned 18, they're adults. If they were in a car wreck or they were off on vacation or doing something and something came up here, I need to be their power of attorney, or someone needs to be their power of attorney so they can handle things. So I
Mhm.
always tell people, they think I'm picking on them. It's like, you think I'm incapacitated, so you're telling me to do a power of attorney. No, I tell everybody that. Everybody over the age of 18 needs to do a power of attorney. I'm not picking on you. You really need to do one, because so many things are going on. You don't get out as well. You don't, it's difficult for you to get to the bank or wherever. Let someone else do this for you, someone that you trust and by law is trustworthy to do this for you. And that's the first step.
Yeah.
And get informed.
What
Know
if
what's
what if you even if you have that power of attorney and yet your parents are still potentially making poor decisions, letting themselves be scammed, if you will? What do you do then?
Well, I am not a fan of guardianships. I don't like them because that truly does take the rights away from the older person and gives it to someone else. It's open court, it's humiliating, it's just not a good thing. But sometimes if a person, and I've had clients, no, I won that $20 million. I know I did, and I just need to send another $1,200. It's like, no, you've not won $20 million. I promise you. And it's just, if you can't get across to them and they continue to do things that are not in their best interest, ultimately you have to do a guardianship. And I just hate that. But there are times that it is necessary to jump in with legal authority and stop this from going on.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hopefully you can have reasonable conversations and help them see the
Yeah.
just whether it's the fees, whether it's some donations requests that they keep getting over and over and over again. Because I feel like once you get on some of those lists, you just get even more.
They
So
share with
what are
everyone.
yeah? So what are some other ways that you see people potentially losing or overspending, if you will, in their
Sure.
in their later
Uh,
years?
just, the Medicare stuff, that's one thing that I see that so much, and that time's coming up. Please be careful with that. Identity theft,
Hmm.
get your credit report. You're entitled to get that once a year from each of the three agencies. So I encourage people, get your credit report, see what's going on out there, see who's putting things on your credit history, and if necessary, shut it down. You
Hmm.
can call the three agencies and say, look, no more credit, do not extend any credit to anyone, and that will shut this down too, because there could be credit cards out there that you don't even know about,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and they're not going to pay them off, and they're going to come after you because it's your social security number.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, that happens a lot. Taxes, please seek the advice of a professional if you're paying taxes. Some people, their income's so low, their assets are low, they're not worried about taxes. But if you're in a taxable situation, please get the advice of someone, because there's a lot of things out there as an older person that can protect you from paying those taxes. And some things, it's like, oh, I'll just give my house to my kids. Well, that's a huge
Mm.
issue on so many different levels. But there are some taxes that they're going to have to pay that are easily avoidable if you get the right advice.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So much to learn, but your book is going to help us in a big way, and we're going to have the link below. Anything we should look out for in the book specifically?
Just please read it and look at any chapter. It's not start at the beginning and go to the end. Pick out what interests you. If it's identity theft or scams or Medicare, or just pick that chapter and just read it. Each chapter stands on its own,
Hmm.
and there's just so many money saving things in there that I've accumulated over the last 25 years. I'm excited about it, and I think it will truly make a difference in a whole lot of families.
Yeah. It's a great example of you don't know what you don't know, right? So until you look at some of the options of, hey, these are ways we could potentially save more money,
Exactly.
rather than overspending, that would be a great way to be able to start. So
Yeah. I was just going to say, Todd Whatley, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and helping so many people.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It's just something that we just need to know. And it goes back to what we always say, communication.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to mom and dad. Talk about the power of attorney. Talk about their investments. Talk about everything so you know, so that you can help protect them.
Right. And have them be open to those conversations and feel like you're on their side and you're trying to help them the best that you can. But having knowledge and communicating with them about it and then sharing with us helps us be able to help them.
Exactly. Remember, if there's any other topic you'd like us to discuss, please let us know. Parenting aging parents.